let's use some yoga practice to enhance the mobility of our shoulders. We'll begin in a comfortable seat. You could be seated on a chair or cross-legged, however suits you. We're going to close the eyes down, tune into our breathing, and notice how the shoulders currently feel, how they are set against your body. In the most gentle of ways, we will begin to adjust our shoulders into a more powerful posture for their function, for how you feel about yourself. First, by playing around with elevation and depression of the shoulders. So on your inhalation breath, you're going to hunch the shoulders right up by the ears, and then on your exhalation breath, you're going to pull them as far down away from the ears as you can, like they're riding an elevator. Inhalation breath, hunching them up. Exhalation breath, lowering them down. Now, depending on how much sensation this gives you or how tense you have identified your shoulders to be, you might want to make this more of a sighing or huffing exhalation breath, like and really let that tension out. Especially if things have been a little stressful lately, or you've had a big day at work, or just dealing with things that you feel like you've been carrying. Now's the time to start letting that tension go. Congratulate yourself for taking this time to nourish this part of your body, to meet yourself where you're currently at with your shoulder mobility, whilst also being committed to improving this part of your body and its function. One more time, inhaling up and exhaling down. We'll come from here into protraction and retraction of the shoulder blades now. So on your inhalation breath, we're going to pull the shoulders onto the back. And here it's like you're puffing your chest up like a proud bird, I guess. And then on your exhalation breath, we're going to pull the shoulders forward, separate the shoulder blades on the back of your body, and you can lightly tuck your chin to your chest. Here you might take your biceps to face forward, your palms to face out. Inhale, you're really squeezing the shoulder blades together, and then exhale. We're pulling our belly button to the back of our spine as we take the round forward. Inhale, squeeze the shoulder blades together. They're still down away from the ears at this point. Exhale and bring them forward. Back and forth, just a little simple nourishment. Reminding yourself that you have these movements. Your shoulders do not need to be set in one position. Even though in our modern lives, we tend to set them one way. Perhaps we're doing desk work. Perhaps we're just always working forward of the body. And now we remind ourselves, I have fluidity in this part of me. One more time, opening and closing, and then setting the shoulders in what feels like a central point between the elevation and depression, between the protraction and retraction. They're set in a way that feels nice and comfortable. From here, we can flutter our eyes open, and we're going to bring our fingertips to perch on our shoulder blades. Now we'll take an inhalation breath as we lift our elbows towards the ceiling and really stretch across the chest as we exhale and take those elbows down to the ground. 4 more like this. So starting to create these circular patterns of movement. And then we back out the other way. So taking the elbows back, circling around. Exhale as we come forward. Inhale, elbows back, open chest. Exhale, ribcage knits in towards the hips and the midline of your body. And after the last one like that, we're going to come into some bigger movements for the shoulders, known as shoulder flossing or shoulder dislocation. So that's a little bit of a scarier term. We take something into our hands. Now I've got a dynaband. You could be using a necktie, a belt, a yoga strap if you have one. Anything where you can apply a little bit of pressure into the item that you are holding, and that you can have the hands set quite far apart. On our inhalation breath, we're going to lift our arms up above our head and then use the exhalation breath to take the prop that you have all the way down behind you. Of course, you can do this with no prop at all. You can imagine some tension that you're holding between the hands. Taking it forward and back a few times here, feeling that full range of motion, the full work of your shoulder blade. Now, to test your range of motion or challenge your range of motion to enhance your mobility here, your goal will be to, over time, bring the hands closer towards one another. So find that point where things get just a little sticky, not so that you're having to bend your elbows in as the item is coming behind your back, but just where it feels like you're being more challenged. Back and forth, pulling muscle to the bone in the other areas of our body so that we can isolate the shoulder joints. Nice work. And just a few more rounds. You might hear some clicks or experience some clicks. My right shoulder's giving me some kind of noises at the moment. And I just want you to, unless that comes with an associated pain, see if you can just be curious about it. When our connective tissue shifts past itself, there can be noises, clicks, curious things. What can you change about the way that you're moving? See if I smooth mine out by slowing it down. It makes a big difference here. Beautiful. Last one like that. Give the shoulders a little bit of a shake, and we will take that prop over to the side for the time being. Now we will come into taking our right arm up towards the ceiling, and we're going to practice bending at our elbow and trying to bring the fingertips down to the back of the neckline, or even reaching for that space in between your shoulder blades. We're going to jut our chin up towards the ceiling and see if we can hold this stretch. One nice option we can take here is come against a wall and apply some pressure from the wall into the tricep of that right arm. Or we can apply some further pressure through the fingertips of the other hand for quite a classical tricep stretch. But try and resist the movement again. So I'm applying pressure down through my left hand, but I'm also pushing against my left hand. Seeing if you can deepen the stretch in a pain-free range. Nice work for 4, 3, 2, and 1. And then we'll release that side and come over to the other. So taking our left elbow into bend, bringing those fingertips down through the back of the neck, knowing you could use a wall here for some pressure. You could use your fingertips for some pressure, or you can just work with an imaginary pressure that allows you to feel some resistance in this shape. So I'm choosing to use my hand. I'm applying some pressure to the elbow and pushing up against that elbow as well. Pain-free range, but just encouraging more openness here through the front of that shoulder, through the front of the chest. See if you can keep yourself upright, not curling or rounding forward away from it. Sometimes it's a very different experience, the two sides of our body in this stretch. And we shift from here to an internal rotation of the shoulder. So bending at our right elbow again, taking the back of the right hand into the small of your back, the low part of your back, and then trying to pull that elbow back as though you want to touch it to a wall behind you. You can stay here or you can adjust, bringing the back of the hand further up the back, maybe even turning the palm so that you're pressing the pinky finger edge of the hand into the low part of your back, or creeping up to the mid part of your back. Play around with it, find what feels like a challenge for you. I prefer to stick to the back of my hand. But if you're working towards something like reverse prayer for your yoga practice, or it just feels more comfortable to turn the palm, then you could do that. A couple more deep breaths here. The pressure this time coming from the tension between the back of the hand and the back. And let's release and switch over to the other side, bending at our left elbow and bringing the back of the hand first just into that low part of your back, and then trying to pull the elbow back like you want to touch a wall behind you. This is where I hold my tension, is in this part of it's my right arm. I'm mirroring you, so it'll be your left. And it's from sleeping with an arm under the pillow like this. So there's lots of things that can make our shoulders feel a bit quirky, and why taking this time to nourish them and nourish them evenly from side to side can be so beneficial. After this, you might want to bend more deeply into the shape, pressing the back of the hand, or maybe experimenting with this rotation onto the pinky finger side of the hand. Holding, trying not to come out of it, breathing deep. And then you might have worked out where this is headed to. Our right arm's going to come back into that low back position. Our left arm is going to sweep up and around. And our goal is to try and bring the fingertips closer towards one another. You could re-pick up your prop here and use it to help close that distance off so that we have this shape in the back of the body. And then your goal might be to be bringing the fingertips closer towards one another. Or if you get a grip through the fingertips, can you hook your grip? Can you come further up? You're seeking to get this level of resistance again. So where you can be in the position, but not holding it in a loose or passive way. You're holding it in a way that feels very engaged. And let's switch on over to the other side. So right arm sweeping overhead, left arm sweeping in behind, and going for a grip if you can manage one using your yoga prop that you have selected if you need it to close the gap. Breathing deeply here. Applying that resistance. It's an active stretch. Nice work. A couple more deep breaths here, and then we're going to come to one final position where we switch between having quite an active puppy dog pose and then a more passive one to finish off. So let's release that stretch. Come now onto our hands and our knees, and we want to keep the hips in alignment with the knees as we walk our hands forward and slightly out so they arrive at mat distance apart at least as well. Then the goal is to bring the forehead towards the ground or the tip of the nose towards the mat. Again, you might prop your forehead with a cushion or a yoga block if you need to bring the ground up to meet you. Try and keep those hips steady above the knees. Let's make it a little bit more active to begin. So we're going to press into the hands, lift the chest up in between the shoulder blades, and then lower the chest down towards the ground and then lift up again. You can also do this work against a wall. If doing it on the mat feels too intense for you, come up against the wall and just work on this melting heart towards the surface of the wall, or perhaps on a chair for something in between those two. One more time. Active stretch, and finally into our passive. So you might now bring the chin forward if you've got a really deep range here, and bring the chest completely to the ground. Your last few deep breaths. I've probably made that microphone go a bit funny pushing it against the mat here. And we're going to super gently walk the fingertips back in towards us. Bring yourself back to a comfortable seat about where we started, closing the eyes down, and we'll just finish giving ourselves a wee self-hug. So we'll inhale, take the arms out to the side, and then exhale, crossing your right arm over your left. You're going to bring your fingertips around to your shoulder blades, drop your chin in towards your chest, and it's a little nourishment again of this joint, a little congratulations for yourself for taking this time, for working on this part of your body, for your commitment to improved well-being, enhanced mobility. And then taking your arms out wide again, inhalation, breath, exhale, we sweep the left arm over top of the right, and then we creep the fingertips around, a little bit of a self-hug here again. Your last few deep breaths, and then if you'd prefer to finish your practice with some time in Shavasana, then lay yourself down on the ground. Let yourself enjoy that. You can pause the video and take that time. Or if you started with this practice and you wanted to move on to your hips, then you're welcome to make that transition now as well. Thank you very much.